On today's video, some reserve list cards that continue to surprise. It just never pays to underestimate the reserve list. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. And of course, we're talking about reserve list conversations. That's what we do on this channel most of the time. The reserve list is amazing. When you see the sales figure sometimes, it blows my mind. I'll be showing you guys some awesome cards that have really been selling well in the last couple of weeks that are all reserve list cards today. When people think of the reserve list, they tend to focus on 20 to 30 cards on the reserve list, the higher powerhouse cards. But neglecting the lower end cards is to your detriment. You can never know where these cards are going to go. You don't know when Wizards creates a new format, a new playability, a new deck construction. Put one card into play, some new printing, it can totally, fundamentally change the value of a reserve list card because now that card suddenly has a usage. It's amazing. So let's go ahead and take a look at these awesome cards. I look forward to seeing everyone's comments in the comments section. Let's get to it. The first card we're talking about is Mishras Workshop from Antiquities. Now this card comes in at $4,100 Canadian for a light played copy. The average is $4,750 US. The market has it at $2,600 US. And of course, €2,759.53 will get you that card. This one has spiked up and down, but with the Brothers War coming in 2022, don't underestimate people's nostalgic attachment to old cards. The sales may be slow right now, but anything made in Antiquities that references the Brothers War may find a new home coming up, just like when a new Marvel movie comes out and people jump on the bandwagon looking for that old nostalgic stuff they remember as a kid. This card is a powerhouse. Unlike other cards, it's not banned in Commander and it taps for 3 mana. People pick on Tolarian Academy being banned right now and not being able to be used in Commander. Well, here's an example of a card that's not banned that probably should be at least on par with Tolarian. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next bad boy up to bat. Soldevi Digger from Alliances. That's right, our little partner card for Soldevi Excavations. This card comes in at $7 Canadian for a near mint copy. The average is $5.28 US. The market has it at $5.05 US. And €3.80 will get you that card. Now, the formats permitted are Commander, Legacy, and Vintage. The sales on this card are high, and it was a very surprising amount for this week, which is why it made it into this little sales, to let people know if this is a card you're looking for or you've never thought about using it, it might be time to grab a playset where you can still get it for 25, 30 bucks for a playset of 4. This card does recycle your graveyard back into your library, and if you can whittle out a lot of your non-library cards you need and get down to core cards, this card can be invaluable in doing that. We used to use it as an anti-millstone type thing to kind of recycle our cards, but I can see why people might be using this in a Commander deck depending on what they're trying to do. So way to go, Soldevi Digger, you made it here, and if people are looking for this card, you probably should pick it up now while it's still an inexpensive card. Now our next card up is the Anaba Ancestor from Homelands. Now, I don't normally pay that much attention to this card, but when I was cycling through all the cards, it had a massive amount of sales in the last 10 days. At $1.90 Canadian for a light played copy. The average is $2.28. The market has it at $1.90 US. €2.21 will get you that card. I can see this being, of course, used in a Commander deck that has Minotaurs. It is an easy card to get out. At 1 red, 1 other for a 1/1, but it can tap to give a target Minotaur +1/+1 with no, you don't have to tap mana, you don't have to use anything. It's a great utility card that doesn't cost a lot to have out, and it is reserve list. So anytime you see cards like this, you might as well grab a playset for $5 and call it a day. At least you have your playset out of the way. This card is an underrated, underutilized card, but if people start building more and more Minotaur decks, you're going to see this card in there because it's a perfect fit. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next card. Bayou Revised Edition comes in at $460 Canadian, light played copy. The average is $598.18 US. The market has it at $596.36 US, and €348.63 will get you that card. Now, I only found 1 copy for $460 Canadian light played, but I'm putting it out there because that's the price I found it at. Now, formats permitted are Vintage, Legacy, and Commander. Most people who are trying to get at least 1 copy of a dual land have resulted in many sales across all dual lands right now. They're all selling, they're selling well, Most sales are considered high by my standards, but the idea that people want them for Commander and just want one copy of each. These were a lot of single sales, which tell me people are building up one copy of each for Commander decks. Keep an eye on this card. Remember, dual lands are key for a lot of people to have. They're your first stepping stone to getting to old school stuff, and they never really seem to lose value. They always seem to go up in the long run. They are a benchmark. You gotta go with these things. Dual lands are amazing. Our next card up is Fork. Now you can find Fork for $70 Canadian light played. The average is 64.22. The market has it at 58.22 US. 33 euro and 89 cents will get you that card. Now this is one of those cards that really jumped up for its first buyout. This card went from $15 all the way to where it is now in less than 2 years. People are finally understanding this card deserves some respect. Being able to copy spells, copying the things you need to do at the right time at instant speed is amazing, and that's why Fork is where it is. You gotta have a couple of play sets, man. Gotta keep it for your decks. The sales on this were very high in the last 15 days. Keep an eye on Fork. You might expect to see a little bounce back there from what we're seeing on the stock price right now. Now I have to go ahead and mention the Might Stone from Antiquities. This card, although not the most utilized card, it is a big thing from the Brothers War. The new imagery you'll see in the pictures for November 2022 release of the new set, the Brothers War, shows Urza and Mishra with their stones respectively. One with the Might Stone, one with the Weak Stone. This card is only $20 Canadian for a near mint copy. The average is 19.09 US. The market is 16.92 US. 13 euro and 52 cents to get that card. Guys, this is a very cheap reserve list card. And it has a lot of that nostalgic value when you think of the lore of Magic the Gathering. These are cards people grab. Even if they're not that playable, they grab them and they hold on to them, and it's something to talk about, something to converse about when you look through a binder. I can see why people have them. The Might Stone is something to grab when it's this cheap. It used to be a $5 card. Now it's $20. It's only going to go up, okay? Keep an eye on this card. If you don't have it yet, at least get yourself one. You won't regret it. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, which is going to be the Gauntlet of Might. This is one of those cards we all used. All red creatures gained a +1/+1. Your mountains tapped for double the amount of mana. You had to have this as a kid, if you could get your hands on one. Now, you can find this card for $860 Canadian. Now, you can see there the average is $1,403.99 US. The market has it at $911.07 US, or 579 euro even to get you that card. This is one of those under-respected old school cards. You can use this in Commander. You can use this in a red Commander deck to just slaughter somebody with double your mana. It is fun. It's exciting. And people always forget about this card. It's kind of how Time Vault was for a while. If you have this card, congratulations. You're going to see some big gains in the future. If you don't have one and you're trying to get it, maybe trade up for it. Work your way to the top to get those, semi-high level tiered reserve list cards. Now, Lake of the Dead from Alliances has very high sales. I haven't mentioned it for a while. I wanted to track it a little further back, but it is staying steady at these high sales. You can find it for $170 Canadian for a light played copy. The average is $121.74. The market is $115.14 US, and 94 euro and 97 cents will get you that card. Now, of course, the formats permitted are Commander, Legacy, and Vintage, but with these high sales, that epic artwork, this is one of those Alliances cards everyone talks about all the time, even back in the day. I've seen these used in Eldrazi decks to pump out big beasties in Commander. You just want to have it. You want to look at that art. You want to say, yep, that is one of those cards I remember from my youth being kind of creeped out about, but just couldn't take your eyes off it. The Lake of the Dead is something you've got to have. And at $170 Canadian, this is one of those cards you don't want to regret not getting while the price was low. Look at that stock price. You can see Lake of the Dead has really come down from those $280 to $300 mark. They've come right down to that low end price where people can actually afford it, who maybe are just dipping their toe into reserve list cards. Skip a cup of coffee. Don't eat out once or twice, and you could have yourself a copy of Lake of the Dead forever. A revised edition Tundra for $460 Canadian, but it's a heavily played copy is where we're starting off this one. The average is $539.99 US. The market has it at $543.01 US, and 331 euro and 68 cents to get that card. Now, I put up a heavily played copy to show the disparity between a near mint copy, which is kind of like the market average, versus a heavily played. You're only talking $80, $90 to just step up to a near mint copy. You might as well go it if you're going to go in all the way. Get the best quality copy you can afford. Now, the formats permitted, of course, Commander, Vintage, and Legacy. And like we said about the Bayou, it's the stepping stone to getting into higher end power cards. It's where a lot of players start when they're first getting into reserve list, is buying 1 or 2 dual lands. These ones here are going to seem cheap 10 years from now, but I can see how people are kind of going, wow, that is like almost $500, halfway to $1,000. I understand, but to step into these kind of cards are just something that is just amazing when you have it in your binder, when you play with it in a deck. Tundra is one of those cards I've always had. I love my dual lands. I can see why so many people are buying them, because the sales on these are still very high, guys. Let's go with these dual lands. They are being sold everywhere. Now, when we're talking about our next card, this is one of those weird ones, okay? When I say weird, I'm saying this card is a little more unique. Fairy Noble from Homelands. $12 Canadian for a near mint copy. You can see the average there is $3.98. The market is $2.84 US and €2.93 to get that card. But in Canada, I couldn't really find any near mint quality copies for anything less than 12 bucks, okay? But look what he does. He's a 3 casting cost 1/2 with flying. But all your fairies get +0/+1, and he can tap himself, no mana requirements, just tap himself to give all fairies an additional +1/+0. So basically he's giving all fairies +1/+1. That's pretty amazing for a low casting cost guy with flying back in the day. And let's look at it. With Throne of Eldraine and all the amazing fairies that came into play, we're going to see more fairy tribal support stuff going on, and it's only a matter of time until you see more commander decks using fairies in them to have some fun. The Fairy Noble will be a card they've got to get their hands on. So, way to go, Fairy Noble. You're stepping up. And right now, the price is dropping. So, if you can find an okay copy for a couple of bucks, what's wrong with spending $10 and getting a play set of 4 if you're in the States? Way to go. All right, our last card today is Weak Stone. Just like the Might Stone, this is the opposite side. Look at the price. Look how similar they are in price. This is an Antiquities card that gave all creatures -1/-0, just like Urza's gave +1/+0. So, $20 Canadian for a near mint quality copy. The average is $15.73. The market is $13.81. €10.02 to get you that card. It has had the up and downs along with a lot of the buyout cards from the last 24 months. But when you look at the format, Commander, Vintage, and Legacy, I have actually seen the Might Stone and the Weak Stone used in some decks for fun. I've seen it in some Commander decks recently, which kind of surprised me. They were just kids having a blast, and it's just nostalgic to see these old cards coming back. But any Antiquities cards may have that resurgence in value with the Brothers War being announced for 2022. So if you're a person looking at reserve list cards, you might want to look at Antiquities right now before any of these cards may spike up in value. It's the reserve list. We got sales on the left of us, sales on the right of us, but here we go again. The reserve list is strong. People are buying it every day. For those of us who've collected it a long time, for those who are new to buying reserve list, put those questions out there. Put those comments in the comment sections. We will be there to help you because we are the reserve list collectors on this channel. What can we say? Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope everyone enjoyed the video today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And of course, a big shout out to all my amazing patrons on the channel for their continued support and growth as we strive to get to 10,000 subscribers. That's right, we will get there one day. We will hit 10K. Thanks a lot for the support, everyone. You rock. I've said it once. I'll say it again. The reserve list moves pretty fast. If you don't take time to enjoy it sometimes, you might just miss it.